Well, wonderful. Hello. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Denise and Jennifer, Kelly, and Rose. Thank you for being on. This is a weekly webinar that I'm hosting with Dr. Peter Amato, and he's not going to be joining us tonight. He had something important to take care of, but I'm showing up for you instead. So I know I'm not going to be Peter, but we're going to talk about some of these key pillars of health and happiness that we are getting out there to the world, and what drew you into being here tonight. This is going to be around a 15 to 25-minute call. If you have any questions whatsoever in the chat group, you can ask questions, and we'll save this chat dialogue, and I can pass anything along to Dr. Peter Amato that that is direct to him, or something that he can answer better than myself. I'm here just to share with you and to show up and share with you what we're doing here at the Inner Harmony Mountain Institute, the Harmony Mountain Institute, and what that is, what that means, and a little bit about Dr. Peter Amato as well. This is something too I want to invite you to join us on each Thursday, because we're going to start some amazing topics. And these topics include anything from spirituality to physical health, to specific, let's say, nutritional needs and elements, and also the role of community. We're going to be highlighting some specific questions. So if you do have things that you want to explore or for us to go through, and to highlight and to showcase, please let me know. Write it in the chat. And I'm going to introduce myself here, because you're probably wondering, who in the world is this? Well, I know Dr. Amato for many years. He uses one of the instruments that I support and sell in the world. It's part of the transformational retreat, part of Harmony Mountain and the offerings there. And I'm also a friend. I've also been to his property. I've also gotten to know Peter, and I work with many different wellness professionals in the world, helping supply different wonderful technologies, but also with some of the how they can get the word out there. And so this project isn't a project of just, this is something I believe in. This is something I grew up with. I grew up in Boulder, Colorado. For those of you who don't know Colorado, it's kind of central, about 30 minutes north of Denver. The University of Colorado is there. It's a very health conscious and aware community, and it's a university town. So there's a lot of great minds, and everyone's overeducated and has triple PhDs. But it was a great experience growing up with, and I've been given a gift from my parents of consciousness, of being able to access information and tools that help me reduce stress and help me thrive as a man and as a father and as a husband, a business partner, and a human in this existence. And so in this journey, went to school in California, studied communications and business, got involved in the natural health industry. And now I'm working with different practitioners and people, connecting them to resources like this. And that's why we're so excited to share this with you. Again, if you guys, Denise, Jennifer, Kelly, please, if you want to introduce yourself anymore or chat, please, this is interactive. This is designed for you to open the discussion. And if you have specific needs regarding your wellness, your well-being, or health, that's something I want to, I'll give you resource to connect on a live discovery call with Dr. Amato anytime. That's the whole purpose of this, is to not just share, but to connect and help find answers for you. Because those answers you may be looking for may not be solved today or tonight. That's not the purpose of this. It's not like show up on the webinar and all your problems go away. This is about starting a relationship, and relationships take time. They take time, and a common thread of relationship is trust. You don't know us yet. You don't know what we're doing. You don't know Dr. Amato and everything he's been through on his journey, and what brings him today to be offering this amazing opportunity. And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Right now, I'm in West Bloomfield, Michigan. So it's East Coast time, about 10 minutes after 7. And I'm so grateful and honored to be here. So I want to thank you all for doing so. If you don't mind, please shut off your cell phone if you can. I know it's around dinner time for many of us. If you need to eat, that's perfectly fine too. But sit back, relax. I got my green drink here, trying to practice quantum nutrition, one of the pillars, feeding my body. And so here we go. Let's get started. Denise, thank you. Before we do, I'm a registered nurse. I work with clients in eating disorders. I'm always looking for ways to help my clients and become a better person. Perfect. Denise, thank you for sharing that. And this will give me context of this information. And these 5 pillars think of it as frameworks. For frameworks tonight of different ways you can approach your patients and your clients. And then if you want to learn the inner workings of these, well, there's steps you can do, but this will be a nice, fun. I want this to be enjoyable for you. I want you to be entertained, but also inspired. And I'll also ask for your feedback after. So appreciate you all being here. And Denise, thank you for sharing that. And our nurses, I'll tell you, they're such an amazing gift. You're that bridge of connection there in that mainstream system that there's a role for. But I believe, this is my belief system, I'm going to create this framework. There's a role for mainstream conventional medicine. There is. When we break our bones in our bodies or we need trauma care, there's no better scientific strategy and approach than helping mend someone with the science and the skills and the gift and the artistry of that. When it comes down to health care, the whole being health, the system has not allowed the time and the attention to the full spectrum of the body. And I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole too much, but that's part of why many of us are here tonight, or you're listening to this, is you're looking for new ways and different options to better serve, right? And that may be yourself. You're tired and burnt out on only being prescribed a prescription or a treatment or surgery that reduces you down to a label or we're not machines, we're not mechanisms. Now that label is important because the symptoms we have to listen to, right? Those are all alarm systems going off. But let me ask you something. When your alarm system goes off in your car or the light turns on, you might have heard this analogy before, but if you cut the wire and the light goes off and you drive along happily, there's only a matter of time before something else happens more severe. If you take Band-Aid over it and just put some tape over that dashboard where now there's no more engine light coming on, what's going to happen over time? And that mainstream medical approach seems to focus on that. It's trauma care. It's helping put out the fire. But the core and the human condition is much more complex than that. And so what these pillars tap into is this complete approach. So in the Harmony Mountain approach is what this is here. So I'm going to just reread this to you guys and use some of these focus points. I'm not reading this verbatim. This is just some of my notes I took and went over with Peter earlier today. And so if you have any questions, anybody, just please go ahead and chat. I'll take a break in a minute and see if there's any here. But let's get started. And so that's a little bit about who I am. I'm all about the holistic approach. And that's what brought me connection with Peter. So Peter's experience led him to discover these 5 principles or pillars. And then also we're going to talk about how they intertwine with each other. But first, let me go through the first principle or the first pillar, and that is quantum nutrition. So nutrition, tell me everybody, like please comment in the chat. Do you feel that your nutrition is something that A, is important, but B, something that you could do better with? You could be eating better. You could be getting more organic, non-GMO, all this stuff. Is it something that you need help with and work on? I believe it's a constant, a daily choices we have to make. It's not something you just choose to do. It's a practice, right? It's an exercise. It's a lifestyle is what it is. But nutrition, the vibration of what we consume, the old saying, you are what you eat, there's some real depth to that. And so if you lack the nutrition principle, and I don't care what kind of background you have, this is undeniable. And it's actually a scientifically proven that that nutrition is a core ingredient to one's success in their health. And that's a no-brainer. That's it. That I don't think anyone can argue that. And not just eating the right foods, but also for your own energetic profile, right? We're all different. We all have different strengths and weaknesses. So a nutritional plan or the 4-square diet that is recommended on, what is it called? The dietary plan, which is the vegetables, the proteins, the fruits, that's just putting us all in a box. We're all unique and we all have different goals, right? So connecting to that, listening to that, and honoring that nutritional importance is one of the first pillars I just want to share with you. And quantum nutrition leads towards balance, gratitude, and positive mind states. Your vibe can attract your tribe or deliver the one. Learning optimum food choices or learning about this is the first step. And I don't want to insult your intelligence, everybody. You may already have this. This is like, oh, Jake, are you kidding me? Nutrition? Are you joking me? But nutrition has to be honored because it's the energy that you're receiving and using to utilize. And this isn't a very scientific description of nutrition and the breakdowns of carbs and the caloric intake and all that. We're talking about the relationship you have with the foods, what that consumption of the right food and diet, and not even diet, but the right energy can contribute to ultimate health and happiness. So for symptoms or unhealthy age, also that, the elimination of energy too. Like nutrition is a fuel. And so opening up the channels of elimination and the habits, it takes training, it takes time. I believe nutrition is most critical, but somewhat difficult to sustain on a daily basis. Rose, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And that's why I say lifestyle is because it's almost a habitual. And for many of us around the country in the US, moving from California school to Colorado to Michigan, and in Scranton or some of these other different city, blue collar cities, not the inner city where there's a Whole Foods or, on every corner. Even Whole Foods is being commercialized because there's a trend here. How many of you are familiar with Whole Foods? Of course you are. Well, guess who just purchased Whole Foods? Well, Jeff Bezos from Amazon. That's a whole nother discussion. But what I'm saying is it's hard to access, and there's a value. You're not alone. There's a need for solid nutrition. And that's what Dr. Amato has at the Harmony Mountain Institute, is the product lines and the elements that help supplement and make that challenge, Rose, that you just stated, of making it consistent. Because you're right, the daily habit is really difficult. And that's part of the transformation retreat at Harmony Mountain, is to lock in that habit, because it's hard in our daily lifestyle. How many of you have a business or a job or family, or how do you fit in the food preparation? or the choices of what to go buy, and then make a delicious quick meal that's nutritious. What supplementation is right and wrong? What's doing your body on a unique level? These are all things that Dr. Amato has mastered in his realm to be able to now share with others. That's the whole reason we're here, you guys, is to go over these so you can start to open up the consciousness and connect with Dr. Amato, connect with one of us and book a call. So, okay, so nutrition, you guys, that's a key pillar. Quantum nutrition in particular is one of the pillars for the health, happiness at Harmony Mountain. Next, energy medicine. How many of you are familiar with energy medicine? If you are, so you can just say, I am. You don't have to tell me what. But if you are, I want to know who I'm talking with here tonight. Yes. Do you mean Reiki? Reiki is a form of energy medicine for sure. And energy medicine, everybody, is really vague. You know, energy medicine is, I would say, I mean, that's as vague as stress reduction, right? Like there's a million things that fit into that. But I'm not, Rose. Well, thank you. So if you look at energy medicine in the mainstream, we're already using energy medicine. What I mean by that is when you go, we all know what an MRI is, you know, magnetic resonant imaging. What it does is send a magnetic field through the body, you know, and I hope none of us have had them. I unfortunately have, playing football, having concussions, and just being active in my life. But that's a form of energy medicine. An ultrasound using energy of sound waves. Magnetic waves is the MRI to get information so that we can look deeper inside. These are kind of mainstream forms of energy medicine. You could even look at a heart rate monitor, right? Taking the frequency of your heart rate, communicating it to your body of, what that number means, which is unique to you. That's a form of energy medicine. Now, Reiki is kind of a more old school form. Acupuncture is a form of energy medicine. And it's also invasive though, right? You have to be licensed acupuncturist in the United States. Each state is different, just like other modalities, but that works on the Chinese meridian system. So acupuncture is a form of energy medicine. Why that's a pillar is we get so stuck in the physical, but there's so much more deeper, on a deeper levels that make up our makeup. Now, we'll connect the dots here, but you can see how poor nutrition can make someone disconnected energetically, right? Poor nutrition. Say you killed a pizza and 3 sodas every night, and it kept you up another work cycle, and you don't get to bed before 2 a.m., or you're skipping breakfast. Well, your energy levels will dip. The energy medicine part of this, I want to read something to you. Moving beyond quantum nutrition, we then step into the dirty, toxic world on the surface, but deep down, we've learned to tap into the Earth's Schumann wave frequencies and its pulsed electromagnetic field. So there's really, I don't know if any of you are familiar, there's a book called The Fifth Element. And what it talks about is by a gentleman by the name of Bryant Myers. And what he talks about, there's 5 elements. There's not just the 4 elements that we need to live, but there's 5. The first element is wind, air, okay? We need oxygen to breathe. Next is sun. We need light, photosynthesis for life. The next is, so the sun, water. And what's the fourth one? Oh, the earth. We need food. We need nutrition, right? Those are the 4 elements that we've seen and we learned about in grade school. We need all of these as beings, but there's a 5th element. And I'm not talking about the movie, The Fifth Element, with, I don't know even who, I forget who's in there. I'm talking about the pulsating electromagnetic field, PEMF. That's the field that's unknown. You can't see to the naked eye, but that grounds you. That's why walking on the beach and those negative ions, those help ground and are healthy for us. That's the field outside of us. A lot of people, you referred to it, I'm sure you've heard of the aura or the aura field. This is what's not seen to the eye, but is also critical for life. Without it, that's why people tend to have more health issues who live above ground for many years in inner cities. That's what, getting connected to that Schumann wave field of the earth, that's a form of energy medicine. It's that connecting the body on that energetic level, almost the quantic level. And as you know, quantum medicine, quantum is quantic, or an atom is one of the smallest components of that we know that make up matter. Well, an atom, if you break down matter, this microphone or this green drink or my face, my hair, my eyes, you have cells. You've got in the body, you've got organ systems that are made by cells. Cells are made up by molecules and different elements and proteins and fats, but those are all made up of atoms, right? An atom is 99.9% energy. It's actually nothing. What's holding it together is electromagnetic field, rotating those electrons that make up matter, that make up cells, that make up organs, that make up our matter. The quantum energy products in the work, like Reiki or acupuncture, or the biofeedback that Peter does, or the light therapy, this is communicating on that level. That's a core pillar in the journey here. And so one of this is, I want to read a little clip. This profound fountain of life combination derived through bioenergetic holographic, this profound fountain of life combination derived through immersing in this form of interconnected flow of energy pulsed into your every cell daily. It will help extend your living matrix, giving you your aging body and mind a tune-up through geomagnetic frequencies from deep within the earth, but also through these different instruments. So it's about connecting and getting grounded, and that can happen beyond the cellular level on that quantum state. So energy medicine, you guys, is one of the pillars. And for those of you who haven't had body work before, or Reiki, Reiki is a form of kind of a massage, an energetic massage, helping move that energy, just like a physical massage does. But it's not touch. It's you're raised above the body. So that's number 2, you guys. Number 3 is engage spirituality. And so the spirit is a critical part of this, because you could be doing everything else right, but if spiritually you're disconnected and you're not at harmony and peace and have practice and ways to connect to the source, then, and I'm not talking religion here, I'm talking spiritual. I'm talking connecting to the source. And in this case, it's really that creation force. Moving beyond quantum nutrition, engage spirituality here. Now that you've detoxified through the quantum nutrition, and of course, working on the energy medicine element, with a raised vibe through energy medicine, you can engage more deeply in your spirituality. See, getting reset first physically, where you're out of pain. You've now started to work on some of these core issues with the energy medicine. It allows you to connect. At this phase of life, we need a tune-up to stay young and vibrant and connected and happy. This is happiness and joy. Many of us need a process of renewal as we move through aging issues like retirement, loss of purpose, changing roles through empty nest or divorce, emptiness that lack of meaning or fulfillment come along with aging. Fear of death, or is that all there is? Recognizing that you may be doing or possibly seeing things for the last time as we age. This higher calling and meaning of life, and are you that satisfaction feeling or that unsatisfaction of what you've contributed, and all the releasing the guilt, the regret, these types of elements. This is about that engaged spirituality, getting engaged with that, kind of meeting yourself where you are, and being okay with not having all the answers right now too, but also having a way to get reacquainted with that. It's a relationship we all need clarity with, and a healthy ongoing one. So at the Harmony Mountain Institute, what there is the space and the time and the camaraderie with the exercise to practice and reconnect to your spiritual highest self. And that's critical for breakthrough, transformation, or learning. It really is. How many of you meditate? Do any of you meditate on a regular basis? Or have you heard the benefits of meditation? Yes, daily. Wonderful, Rose. Wonderful, Kelly. Rose says, I'm familiar with all that you're saying, we're speaking of, and have done most, but I did not know it was termed energy medicine. No, energy medicine, that's just a kind of a category that Peter's put that under, right? I mean, you can look it up, energy medicine. I'm sure there's a definition of it. But what we're talking about is these different modalities that Peter has proven in his model here that we're sharing with you that help unleash and move people through the step. So wonderful. You guys meditate? That's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, at the Institute, there's an amazing, Peter's redoing his part of the property for the daily yoga instruction and things like that to be able to work. There's a labyrinth there and some amazing places to connect. So next is expanded consciousness. So I'm going to read a little intro and then we're going to discuss this. And if any of you have questions, please fill in. I love the feedback. And Rose, I had a heart attack 5 years ago and found meditation to be a critical part of my daily rituals for better health. Rose, thank you for sharing that. That is beautiful and that's perfect. That is, again, part of it is taking time on let's call it the physical medicine part. There's the spiritual connection for meditation, but on a physiological, medical side, if you want to look at it that way, it comes down to letting go of that fight or flight response that we seem to live and operate in today. All the worry and the fears and the putting out fires in our life. To be able to unwind through meditation, yoga, or exercise, or just peace and a good night's sleep, lowers that stress hormone, cortisol, and it physically helps you live better. That's why after your event with your heart, lowering that stress cortisol level through meditation is probably one of the best things you could do. And you guys, I'm not a doctor. I'm just a student of this. I'm just a sharing the information that I know to help connect and show up for you tonight. So I'm not being a doctor tonight. Don't claim to be, nor want to be. I just want to open this to dialogue with you and get to know you, and you get to know us. Rose, thank you for sharing that. That means a lot. That means a lot. So next is expanded consciousness. So much for feeling numb, bored, complacent, old, and stuck in your run of the old mill fashion beliefs. It's time to move beyond your limited fear-based conditioning and step into a life beyond your wildest dreams. Filled with newfound energy, we will coach you into a robust, bubbly life that will create a whole new outlook and support and courage to stay on the new path. So this, through this discovery process and these pillars, what you realize is you become more aware. There's more conscious connection. There's more of awareness to the foods you eat, to the relationships you allow in your life. You say goodbye to the energy vampires that are sucking you dry. That's hard sometimes when it's family. It's hard when it's loved ones. But there's ways to not only strengthen yourself, but to close the doors on that without having to say goodbye to people too. It's setting those healthy boundaries. But that expanded consciousness is really, think of it as an elevation of awareness in really all aspects. And that's how these are intertwined, everybody. Think about this. With the elevated consciousness, you're going to be more prone to making those conscious choices when it comes to your nutrition, when it comes to picking and choosing the right health care provider who integrates some of these different practices, these different thought systems and modalities, looking at the whole person, who use energy medicine. You're going to be aware and conscious of when spiritually you need to reconnect, right? And when you need to ask for connection and support. That's the connection. That's the entwinement that we talked about and referenced before. The expanded consciousness. So how do you practice that? Like what does that look like? Well, through practice of yoga, meditation, conscious dialogue with like-minded people where you feel safe. That's how you are supported and you nurture that. Because if you are only getting shot down every time you try to connect or go there and elevate that. For example, say you're at a restaurant or you're at a dinner and you feel like you'll be shunned if you say no to the certain food type because it's not good for you. You know that you're trying to work on all your high glycemic index sugars, right? You're trying to say no to some of the foods that are bad, but you don't listen to that because you're worried about maybe what other people think of you, right? Or you don't want to commit to something because you may be judged or things like this. This is part of why a raised consciousness allows you to not care so much, not let that fear affect your decisions moving forward, but also connect you with the right people, the right systems. That's why you're here tonight, to learn about Dr. Amato, to learn about what we're doing with this work. And it allows you to create that community of resources that you need. Enhanced awareness is the expanding consciousness pillar. So that's number 4. Number 5 is community. So right now, I want to just reinforce and give you all permission that you're in a safe environment. Okay. I'm not asking you to share your personal stories and your life story and every hurt and pain. We all have them as part of the human condition. But what I am letting you know is that this is the beginning of our community that we're building, and you're part of that. And so I thank you, and I'm so grateful that you stepped out of your comfort zone to get on a random webinar to learn about these things and to start the discussion. And Peter's going to be on. He had plans he had to go take care of, and we talked about this earlier this week. This is perfectly normal. Some weeks you're just going to have me. Some weeks Peter and I are going to be connecting, and we've got some amazing topics, you guys, coming up. And I want to include you and welcome you to join us. But community, our learning environment will embrace our aging issues together. So working together with other people who are at that same, let's call it, not just like-minded, but same phase, or who can identify with some of your pain and struggling. What that does is it shares. First, it reminds you you're not alone, and when you come together with like-minded individuals, the definition of community is a safe environment for which you're able to share. You're able to listen. That you're not judged. You're not being judged, right? Because I know a lot of people. This may be you, may not be. But there's a fear of them committing to this journey or of their own reinvestment of energy because of what really their environment. So community is critical. And what's so profound about Harmony Mountain Institute is the environment facilitates community and the exercise of that. So you get to go and be real. You get to be real in the true authentic self, thus connecting with all the other elements that we talked about. That's the whole purpose. That's the whole goal. So what I want to do is I want to open it up to any questions that you have. Denise, Kelly, Rose, please feel free to ask any questions. But I want to invite you all to take advantage of the call, and that's going to be an email you'll get. I think tomorrow you'll receive an email. But book a call or go right to the website and book a call with Dr. Amato, with myself, where we can go deeper. There's no reason not to. There's no reason. And if you're looking for a specific answer to an ailment, things like that, definitely Dr. Amato. If you're interested in learning more about the retreat and the transformation retreat and the upcoming dates, that's something we can discuss and talk about. But ultimately, it's unconditional, nothing attached. We just want to see if this information is a good fit for you. And we welcome you to explore. And I highly recommend that you stay tuned, keep watching the emails that come in. And what I want to do with you right now is share the link to the call. And it's Inner Harmony. It's Harmony Mountain. Sorry, Inner Harmony Wellness is Peter's clinic. Harmony Mountain Discover. There it is. And while we're on, everybody, if you don't mind, please, can you let me know, Denise, Kelly, Rose? Let me know, how did you hear about this tonight? How did you register? Did you see it? Did you see an ad on Facebook, or were you on our email list? Or Rose, were you invited from Peter directly over the phone? I'm just curious. Let us know. That feedback is important. Facebook feed. Okay, good, Kelly. Oh, Mike, that's fine, Rose. Do you want to say something, Rose? You're welcome to. I can pass the ball. I do. Okay, great. Here, let me. You don't need to enable your camera. You can just enable your mic. Let me put my headset in so I can hear you. But how, you guys, does this information make sense to you? I mean, do these different concepts speak to you at all? Like, and just give us the feedback. I mean, this is like, it's a new approach to the holistic wellness and health. These components aren't being talked about elsewhere. This isn't mainstream. This is very, but this is critical because, see, Peter's been there. Peter's journey, which you'll learn more about, is pretty profound. And that's something that on the website, Harmony Mountain Institute, you're able to learn more about Peter and you'll get some more information. Trying to unmute. Hold on one second, Rose. Hey, Rose, you should be allowed to talk now.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, hi there.
Great. Okay, so yes, I just wanted to say that I actually don't know Peter personally, but I know of his work. And for many years in this area, the Inner Harmony Wellness Center that was here, and his book. And I love what he does. I love Deepak Chopra. And so as I mentioned, 5 years ago when I had a heart attack, I believed so much more in integrative medicine, I guess is what it is. So this combination, I knew that I needed some things. Prior to the heart attack, I had no health issues whatsoever. So all of a sudden it was a huge whirlwind for me of doctor after doctor after test and all kinds of things, and this pill and that pill and every other pill and all kinds of side effects from them. And I thought I was losing my mind, and I thought there has to be a better way.
Yeah.
So my son is actually very much involved in a lot of this as well. And we started talking, and I've been, although it's been 5 years since the heart attack, I really got into the meditation and found that to be huge. And he was instrumental in helping me to meditate well.
Wonderful.
And, or the proper way, I should say, of doing it. It's been instrumental for me. But everything else that I had been researching since, because the doctors are like, well, for the next 30 years, or so, you're going to be on these pills. And I thought, oh my gosh, right? So I wanted to do some better things. So the bottom line is I started researching, and there's not a lot of places around here who get involved. And the truth is, when it comes to Harmony Mountain Institute, I stumbled upon it on the internet. Just researching, and I was like, oh my gosh,
nice.
It has a facility now in Scranton, which is great. So I signed up. I actually did have a discovery call already.
Okay.
And I thought that was phenomenal. Honestly, it was really, really good. And I just think it's great. I don't have strong knowledge with a lot of this stuff. The things that, like, especially nutrition, like I said, I think that that's huge and most critical, but I need some help with that. And again, especially sustaining it on a daily basis. I'm a business consultant and performance coach. And so I'm on the go all the time. I travel a lot.
Awesome.
So that daily basis thing becomes a problem for me,
Oh, no, exactly. And I understand. I mean, even working in this industry, Rose, it's it's like, the inconsistencies is tough. But Rose, thank you so much for jumping on, and your coaching. I can tell you've got, I love it. And talk about showing up. And I appreciate it, because
sure. I actually think it's so great that, this is the first one. I think you had one last week as well.
Yeah.
But I thought I would come on myself and see. And I know there's a lot of people who are very interested in a lot of this, and many conversations that I have. And, but I don't think that they're aware. So I'll be looking to pass this information along as well.
No, that's great. Share it. And who did you have a discovery call with, real quick? Did you talk to Peter, or did you talk to Steve?
Doctor, I have it written down. His last name began with an S. Dr.
Yes, Dr. Steve.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I just know him as Dr. Steve. I don't even know. He's
okay, but he was awesome, and we had a great conversation. And again, online you can see the facility that for these retreats, which I think is phenomenal, and something that we all need. Again, I'm a little bit older. I'm in my 50s, and so a lot of this, I wish I had been doing years ago. But it's okay to be doing it now, and just the things that I do on my own without the knowledge base that I would really need to do a better job with it has made a tremendous impact across the board with my energy, my health, and all of that. Absolutely.
Well, I can tell. I mean, and going through that with the heart attack, to still being here and practicing some of this knowledge and this wisdom, putting it into action is one thing. Learning about it's one thing, right? We all need to raise that consciousness and understand the principles and the theories, but doing it is a critical part. And as a coach, you know what I'm talking about, right? I mean, it's like putting it into action.
The truth is, I was not a candidate for a heart attack for any reason.
Right.
I was a very healthy, vibrant woman. And so that kind of, in my mind, I'm sure most of it was probably stress related or just whatever, but trying to figure out with the cardiologist, like, why did this happen, until ultimately I don't necessarily need that. I didn't at one point need that answer, but what I needed to do was just move forward in a different direction than how I was as I was continuing to get older. So,
Well, no, and that's wonderful. And Rose, I can't tell you how grateful I am. I look forward to, and we can connect offline, or this. I'm not going anywhere. I'm in this for the long haul with this project, and I'm excited and really honored to be a part of it, because I see the need
Oh,
for
absolutely.
I see the need, and I am younger. People are like, "What is this guy? Like, who is this guy doing this? Like, what is he even talking about? He doesn't know what I'm going through." And you're right, I don't. But I do work in that demographic. My parents' generation, from 50 to 75. Those are all my customers, my clients, my partners. And I'll tell you, um, if we don't change some of the belief systems and the thinking of that, you know, and just give things a try and a chance, like these different theories and concepts, well, nothing will change. No, nothing's going to change. And these are some core principles that hopefully we can all take and start to at least comprehend. And the goal tonight, Rose, and everybody on, and Denise and Kelly, you guys are awesome to staying with us. I didn't expect this to go this long. I 30 minutes was going to be my commitment, because also, Peter's not here, but I've got some such notes. I've got some notes I took too, because we're going to dive deeper into these elements and have Peter on each, a Thursday, and he'll miss some. He can't be on all of them, but you're local there too, Rose. And the property, have you been to the property at all?
No, and it was interesting when I
Yep.
spoke to Dr. Steve, I said, you can't, I tried to Google directions and it won't, because I wanted to go see it myself. I mean, the pictures are beautiful online and I'm
Yeah.
familiar with the area, but it's not until you're actually going there. That's how secluded it is, and they want to keep it, more on a personal level like that.
Right.
And if I could say one thing to you too, and I don't want to take up the conversation, I want the other ladies to be able to discuss some things too, but
Yeah.
one thing I found when you mentioned earlier, and especially in this area and with a lot of people that don't understand this, and you mentioned about going out to dinner and saying no to this. A dear friend of mine was diagnosed with brain cancer a few years ago. And, the whole medical piece, it's always there and what it is, but I couldn't seem to get through to him with some of this other stuff
Yeah.
that I thought would make a difference. Since he passed about 2 months ago, but I just couldn't get him or his wife to understand how important and critical, and they would have nothing to lose to try some of this
Right.
to
Yeah.
help make a difference in his quality of life and whatever. Because I think for his age, he was in his 40s, for his age, they said, typically there's only about 15% of people that would live another 20 years. And I was all fired up. Well, that's you land in there. Why don't somebody
Yeah.
has to be that
Yeah.
20%. So let's do this. I got some things for you. And I worked him and worked him and worked him for like the first 6 to 8 months, but it's like he got
Nice.
the diagnosis and he was kind of, he considered himself dying at the point of diagnosis, because the medical teams, and if you're familiar, which I'm sure you are, with Dr. Deepak Chopra, who
Yeah.
was medical guy up there in Boston, I mean, and
Yep.
what the story is, but realistically, adding a lot of this to your life can change things. I mean, and again, with my heart attack situation, although I have cardiologists, like they always say, I can't, you're doing phenomenal. Everything's like wonderful. And I
Yeah.
said, it's really not the pills, it's the other piece. I get some of the pills
Right.
that
Right.
I may have to take, but the rest of it has been, I think, more critical than anything.
And Rose, you hit on so many high notes there that I could talk to you probably for another hour straight, which would, I don't want to do to us. I mean, but I'm so excited to talk with somebody who's you're just a blessing here, because you're reinforcing the real world we live in. And part of this isn't living in an illusion or being, delusional to the reality. We need these different systems in our lives, I think, for emergencies and things. But I think the system has failed, taking some of the most genius and intelligent brains in our world, our communities, the people that excelled in quantum physics and chemistry and science and math, and it's boxed them in. And unfortunately, that dogma and that information has been now passed down generation, that the only way I can get help with my pain in many forms, not just physical, is to go to a trusted source outside myself who wears a white coat that tells me what's wrong with me, and then tells me, they don't just tell me what's wrong with me, they give me a timeline, or they give me a pill, or they give me a surgery, or they give me a radiation, or they put chemicals in me. Like don't get me wrong, this isn't this versus, but there is more than that. That's my point. There's more to this. And to be shunned, and your friend who passed, and rest in peace. I'm sorry to hear that, but not everybody's open to it right now and ready. And that's something Peter and I talked about the other day, was, Peter, be patient with this, because he's starting to get this out there to the world. And I said, the right people will start to come. It's not something, belief systems run deep, and there's an investment in that. There's not just a time of people's whole medical school and then generations of parents going to the doctor when something's wrong with anything else. I mean, even today, people, have a stomach ache and they go to the emergency room. Like, wait a second here. What's happened? The doctors, it's not their fault. They're limited. I'm not going to get into a lot of the big pharma and their control over the FDA and the AMA. I'm not going there right now. All I'm saying is, our most genius minds, our most brilliant minds, the doctors who are the best in school, these artists of knowledge, and repeating and taking tests and doing great on their SATs and finishing med school, by the time they end up practicing, their hands are tied for true health. And so what's missing there? And there's other solutions that you are practicing now and sharing. And that's so awesome. There's a couple other questions I don't want to miss, but Rose, you can hang out with me here. The concepts make sense, Kelly says, and are aligned with my current course, but I'm still not sure what is offered here. Yeah, Kelly, great question. What's offered here is the opening dialogue. And what we're offering is a discovery call to talk with Dr. Amato, Dr. Steve, about the opportunity to come to the Inner Harmony Institute at Harmony Mountain Estate, at Peter's property, where you can spend a week and immerse yourself with these different principles and pillars, really enabling you the space, the environment, the community, the tools. There's a self-care room that you can go and work with the biofeedback, the light therapy. There's a labyrinth. It's phenomenal. And so stay tuned. You'll get some emails. And also, I want to encourage you all that you can also call me. I'm going to leave my number, and I'm going to leave that for you here, because I'm a partner of Peter's to help connect the dots. So that's what's being offered here. And really tonight was just to share some of the 5 pillars, so you get to know kind of where we're coming from with this. That's what tonight was. So I hope I answered that question. Denise says, I think that the pillars you spoke of incorporate the client or self rather than depending on the medical system. The client has the main role in the care. You have given me a lot to think about and explore. Thank you. And Rose. So great. Rose, you're part of this. Rose, hey, that's beautiful.
And so if I add one more thing for the ladies as well.
Yeah.
So the heart attack thing, like I said, prior to that, I took a multivitamin, was taking calcium. That was about it. So I was pretty healthy.
Yeah.
But even my primary care doctor, when I went there a month later, he looked at me and said, oh my God, there was nothing to say you should have a heart attack. But anyway, one thing I found with the medical side, and I love my doctors, but and like you were saying, they have this process within themselves, but now I'm the patient. And so they put me on, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 different pills, a pill for this, that, and the other thing. They're going to control everything within my body working. Well, these pills would create these side effects. And so I'd be on them for a period of time. My muscles, I was struggling with like my muscles and my joints and things like that. And then I go in and they go, okay, well, that's not working. Here, we're going to do this one. Then the next 30 to 60 days, I start losing my hair. I said, well, this isn't going to work as a woman. Okay. I can't lose my hair. I go back, they change it to another one. So it's not that it's major guessing game. But again, the big pharma thing, and there's so many things out there. And really, I started doing research of my own and found out about adding better nutrition was going to make the difference with this one pill that they didn't even talk to me about.
Yeah.
You know, I needed to add certain things into my diet, whether it be in the form of a vitamin of some sort or in food itself. But I went from one pill to another to another. And my one doctor, I said, I'm stopping this one. Okay. And he goes, you can't. I said, well, guess what? I am, because I can't live with the side effects. And I researched more holistic ways, and again, down to the nutrition piece, and found that it made a world of difference, you know. So it's pretty interesting on the medical side. And again, I love my doctors, and I think that they all do what they need to do, and they're looking out for our best interest too. But like one of the ladies said, you know, it starts with the patient, and you know, we have to figure out for ourselves as well.
Well, no, and you know, the Latin root of doctor, everyone, eductor, educator, teacher. It's, think of the doctor back in the day as in the village, the wise woman or man, the medicine man. He wasn't the guy. He had his little potions and things, his homemade remedies and his hot toddies, and you know what I mean, his remedies for. But he was also a teacher. He was also a guide. He was using wisdom of life beyond just the physical. And it's unfortunate, Rose and Denise and Kelly, because it's not the doctor's faults. They're not trained on education. This is a question I asked a doctor. This was a year ago or so on one of my webinars I do on Friday. And I asked, so how much nutritional training did you get in medical school, right? Like on nutrition, beyond just the carbohydrates, have this many caloric intake, proteins and fats, right? Like, what's your back? And it's like, Jake, it's practically nothing. That's not, and that might have changed. He was in medical school probably 20, 25 years ago. But those are most of our doctors today. They weren't given the resource, you guys, the training. And I'm not boxing everybody in either with that. I'm not saying every doctor. I've got young doctor friends and they get it. They're waking up. But you're right. So it's something I want you all to know. I'm not casting blame or coming from that angle at all. I'm just saying there's more, and there's more, and
Absolutely.
keep learning, keep joining webinars like this, and keep asking questions, because you are also all unique. Like, we're all unique. We all have our different struggle and pain points and things that we seem to keep coming back to, these, you know, the boomerang effect. Why does that keep happening to me? Or why is this keeping to showing up in my life? And it could be a physical ailment. It could be, and all I'm saying is congrats, because you're discovering that. You're opening your eyes, and I appreciate that. And I so appreciate you guys being on with me tonight. But it's coming up on the hour, and I want to answer any questions. I want to honor your time. Oops, incorporate bad spell. Oh, don't even worry about spell check with me. Are you kidding me? I'm, you know, these hands, like on the smartphone too. My goodness. I mean, you should see, my wife laughs at me with some of the auto spell check that comes out. And but my wife now, Lisa, can interpret that. It's pretty cool. She can interpret that. But you guys, I wish you just a wonderful week, rest of the week. Tomorrow's Friday. Join us next Thursday again. And in the meantime, I'm going to post, here's the link again. I'm just going to post for you guys. Book a discovery call. Rose, if you want to book another one and just request and say, hey, I want to connect with Jake, or if you guys need to reach me at all, my number is 248-242-4290. And
I'm sorry, Jake, can you repeat that?
Yeah, I posted it there too. My number,
okay.
Yeah, my number is 248-242-4290. And if you want to book a call, you can do that either through me. We'll find a right time in person, or you can go and schedule it. There's a scheduler there.
Yeah, and I have to say that scheduler was really easy to use too. One last thing I want to say to Denise and Kelly, because I have done this since the heart attack with every woman, how they say, and you should
Yes,
tell this to every woman you know as
please,
well, because
please.
they say the symptoms are much different. And it's true. Again, I was a very healthy female, traveling actually, and it was, I had pulled off the road to get something to eat. And all of a sudden, I had just parked my car. So I'm so grateful for the timing of everything, because I would have been killed on that interstate. It was Interstate 80 in New Jersey. But all of a sudden just got overwhelmed with nausea and lightheadedness, like I was going to faint. I was literally, I pulled in, parked the car, and all of a sudden I just got overwhelmed, and I thought, oh my gosh. And I was very coherent, but all of a sudden I just felt deathly ill. And then to the point that I was actually going to be sick. So I got out of my car, and I was getting sick, and, God is good. And an off-duty EMT gentleman happened to be walking from his car to the restaurant and saw me. And, and so from there, and I said to him, I'm so coherent, but I don't understand what happened. I'm deathly ill. And that's what it was.
Yeah.
And I had no idea until I was in the ambulance. It's always a joke, because I said those ambulance guys will never do it to another woman. I was very coherent. I said, I don't understand what happened. I'm just all of a sudden I'm so sick. And the EMT guy says, you're in the middle of having a heart attack. Well, in my mind, I thought I was going to die. So I freaked
Yeah.
out a bit, and then they must have given me something to knock me out. So anyway, but
Wow.
lady, it was, I would have never believed that. No chest pain, no arm pain, no anything. Just all of a sudden, a rush of all those feelings came over me. So it was pretty bizarre and
No,
pretty quick. Yeah.
no, Rose, looking back, and I just want to wrap things up. And hi, Beth, you've joined. We started about an hour ago, so we're just wrapping things up. But I want to acknowledge you and welcome on to this wrap up of this week. We'll be on next week too. But Rose, looking back at that period, you said there was no ongoing, there was no symptoms up to that. It was out of the blue. Was there other elements in the life that were adding to the stress level that may have led to that? Meaning whether poor nutrition over years or lack of outlet to connect and de-stress or things, or did it just happen? I mean, how were you?
No, and all these questions came up with the cardiologist afterwards, as we were
Yeah,
trying to uncover what actually created it.
right.
It was a month before my 50th birthday, and so you're getting older, because they said, were you tired a lot? And I'm like, I have a high stress job. I do a lot of traveling. I'm on the road all the time, and I don't eat the best,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I eat, but I'm not doing that nutrition thing as I am better today, and would like
yeah,
to do even more so. And things like that. So just a combination, I think, and I wasn't meditating at the time. I think that's huge. I do that a few times during the day. I
yeah,
just think it makes a world of difference when you really understand how it should be done.
yeah,
So that's been the biggest impact. And I feel that the nutrition I've changed with has made a difference, but I want it to be better, because I know that that's most critical with everything else, but that's top of what you're putting into your body. So there were things, but it was, and like Dr. Brace said, she's like, sometimes it just happens, because it's not my family. I'm the first one. I'm
right.
I'm number 8 of 10 kids, and
Wow.
my
Wow.
sisters. I know my 4 sisters were like, oh my God, if Rose had a heart attack, and my brothers, they're like, we can have one, because of everybody in the family, of all the siblings. I was the most balanced, per se, where,
Yeah. Yeah.
I just, if I worked long hours, there'd be nights I was in bed at 8 o'clock, but it was this mix where they drink, some of them too much, and many of them are overweight and things, and don't exercise at all. I
Yeah.
did a little bit of everything. So yeah, it was just that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's well, your story. And by the way, Kelly recognized that. Thank you for sharing that, Rose, with a
Mhm.
heart. So
I wish I knew
yeah.
more of this back in my 40s and my 30s. I
Yeah.
think, if I had been practicing more of it, I could have prevented it completely.
But you're here and
Yeah,
you are
absolutely.
live and well, my
I
friend. I
know.
mean, thank you for participating and being part of this process, and your sharing and your your contribution matters. I just want to recognize you and say thanks. I appreciate it, because we're just getting started, everybody. This is going to be a fun journey as we move forward. And Peter and I had a really good talk today, a long talk about, Jake, let's lay this, let's find out what people are looking for, what kind of solutions. And that's part of this, is a discovery call tonight. I want to see who this audience is, how these dots are going to connect. All we know is these principles that Peter learned from being, having his life turned upside down with his own addiction, to over the years, now having a book written, and it's actually, there's a foreword or by Deepak Chopra with on his book, one of his publications. And it's just an honor to be here with you all. And I thank you for opening up and being part of this. Please book a discovery call. It's absolutely free. It's not to sell you anything either. What it is, to see if this is a right fit for you. And if not, guess what? You're going to have a new resource of information when you need it. And you're part of the community. So everybody, thanks. Rose, thank you so much for showing up and just jumping on like this. Please give me a call at the 248 number. And that's not a cell. That's my office line that will forward to my cell phone. So you can do that anytime. And also Denise and Kelly, please reach out to us. Have a wonderful night, Rose. Take care, everybody. I'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. This was great. Thank you. Bye.